Here now is Lisa Bell and Candace Campos with Florida Foodie. Sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Welcome back to Florida Foodie. I'm your host, Lisa Bell.
And I'm Candace Campos.
And today we are so excited because we are being joined by two amazing chefs from Disney here to talk all about the holidays and preparing holiday meals for our friends and our family. We have the head chef, the executive chef at Disney's Hollywood Studios, John Prieto, and the sous chef at Disney's Hollywood Studios, Anthony Scott, joining us today. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We have a lot to talk about because
we need help.
Yes,
let's be honest. We need help with
We
this.
absolutely do. The pressure is on year after year. Millions of Americans will be attempting to prepare a turkey, either for Thanksgiving or the holidays a month from now. So when we start out, of course, we have this hopefully thawed bird
right, because
by
there's a process
Thanksgiving
to that
Day.
too,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you begin? What should we be doing once we have our thawed turkey?
Okay, so first steps is, as you know, turkey is very lean and tends to dry out. So there's a couple steps that we can do to retain the moisture. One is called a brine. So you place the turkey in a salt water solution, overnight preferably in a refrigerator, and that helps the salt kind of penetrate into the turkey itself.
Does it make a difference?
It makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are some brine packets that you can buy ahead of time that has all the thoughts and
Correct. I mean,
all the process
but
already.
they have like additional like flavorings and herbs and spices, but I mean, salt water it will be perfectly fine, and it's just until it's tasty and salty enough for your liking.
I feel like some turkeys you can buy pre-brined.
There are some pre-brine.
Okay.
I tend to stay away from those because I like to control how much salt I put into it. I think it's a little more healthy.
Okay, so when you make your brine, how much salt are we talking about?
So I typically go for 3%. So whatever the total weight of the water is 3% salt.
Okay, good to know. So 24 hours.
Yep, 24 hours.
In the fridge.
In the fridge, yep. And then we can take it out. If it's a wet brine, then we kind of pat it dry. Preferably, again, it would air dry in a refrigerator for another 24 hours, and that will help you create a nice crispy skin.
Wow.
I
Okay,
didn't know
so
about
it
that
needs to
part.
be submerged in the brine for 24 hours
Correct.
and then air dried in the fridge for 24 hours.
Correct.
Okay, this is a process.
It's a process, yes.
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 It's a labor of
But
love.
it's worth it.
a
It's
love
worth it.
thing, Yeah.
Okay, so now we have our brine turkey.
Yes.
What do we do next?
So now, again, to help retain the moisture, what you can do is you can take some butter and place it in between the skin and the meat itself. And that kind of helps baste it as it starts to roast and kind of cook. And then the butter penetrates through into the meat, and then butter's delicious, so it tastes really
Okay.
good.
Right. Can't go wrong with that.
No.
And then seasonings beyond that. What do we need to be doing and when do we need to be doing that?
Yeah, do we do dry rubs? Do we not do
Because
dry
sometimes I
rubs?
put like rosemary and all sorts of stuff under the skin.
Yeah, you can absolutely put rosemary, sage, whatever herbs and spices you like. Again, you can be a traditionalist and just do salt and pepper. It's really up to preference what flavor profile you're trying to achieve.
Okay, and that's a few hours before you decide to cook it.
Yeah, it could be a couple minutes before.
Okay.
Yeah, just put a little bit of oil on top of the skin and put the seasoning, and you're good to go.
Now, when I cook my turkey, I put it in a bag.
I was just about to ask that question. I'm a bag girl.
And
I put it in the
flip
bag.
it upside down and initially cook it breast side down.
Okay.
And then halfway through the cooking process, I attempt to flip it, and it's very hot, as you can imagine. And sometimes I create a giant mess in my kitchen.
Food safety. Food safety is number one. Food safety.
Okay, so am I just wasting my time doing that? How should I actually cook the turkey?
So I like to not use the bag. I just put it straight into the oven at a lower temperature. Well, first I start off at a higher temperature, probably like a 375 or so.
Do you do breast side down or?
I do skin side up always, so always the breast side up. And then I give that about 30, 45 minutes or so to kind of get the skin nice and dry, start to get some color, and then I usually drop it down, maybe like a 300 or so, and then let it finish cooking the rest of the way. Typically, it's about 30 minutes per pound for turkey.
So I always get to that point where at the end of what I think I'm fully cooked, then I put the thermometer in, and
Yes.
I don't know where to put the thermometer in. And you put it in the
Her
breast, you
turkey's
put it
still frozen at that point.
Yeah, basically, that's probably what happened.
That's an
yeah.
excellent question. So the best place to put the turkey is in between the leg thigh and the breast. So that's gonna be the last part to cook. So if that reaches 165 internal temperature, then you know you're good to go.
So that's like right in this area.
Right in that area, yes. And other clear indication is if you kind of look and see the juices are coming out, if they're running clear, you're good to go. If it still has a little rosy tint to it, then you still need a little bit more time.
Now I stuff my turkey with like onions, celery, carrots. Is that okay?
That is perfect, yes. We want to stay away from putting stuffing inside of there because that makes the turkey more dense. So that's going to make the turkey cook longer, and that could potentially lead to undercooked turkey.
I've seen sometimes there's little things you put in the turkey and you wait for it to pop. Does
Yes.
that actually work?
Yeah, like those red poppers.
Yeah, does that actually work?
I'm sure it does. I tend to not use it.
Yeah.
Again,
That's not
pull
an
them out.
exact
I-
science.
Okay.
a chef's best friend is a thermometer.
Okay, all right, deal.
Okay. So what do we have here? We now have a cooked turkey.
Correct. Now here's the finished product.
This is real, but it looks
Yes.
it looks fake.
It looks
Yes, very
perfect.
real.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we're down to the actual carving stage,
Okay,
which is
go for
also
it.
a process.
Okay.
So Chef Anthony is going to demonstrate how to do that.
All right.
So we're going to start with kind of cutting a little bit of the breast off, and there's a cool trick that I have. So with my family, we like to remove the wishbone before roasting the turkey. So as you see, he's kind of making a cut right now towards the collar, neck part of the turkey, which is where the wishbone is. If you didn't remove it, you would have to cut through that, and then you have to remove it later, so it's kind of a little more labor intensive.
How do you remove it beforehand? You just cut into the raw turkey and
Yep,
pull
yep,
it out?
Yep, you take a little paring knife and you kind of scrape the bone off and it comes right
Okay.
out. Exactly.
Oh.
So the reason, again, we do this is so he can kind of cut the entire breast off intact, and it makes a better presentation when carving.
Oh, so by removing it beforehand, it helps with the
The
carving.
whole carving
and,
process.
Gives you a
Correct.
smoother,
Wow.
a more smoother
Okay.
cut. Gives you
Yes.
a more smoother
edge.
cut
and then
for
does your
presentation.
family do the whole thing where you break the wishbone?
Another excellent question, yes. So I keep the wishbone and then I roast it with the turkey.
Okay.
So then
All the-
it starts to dry. So,
So
then
it's
you
cooked and
exactly,
safe to
exactly.
touch.
And then you still have the tradition of ripping apart the wishbone.
So you're not
Okay.
supposed to just plop the turkey on the dinner table and just tell everyone to go at it, right?
No,
This,
the
this
best.
is the proper way of doing it.
Correct. And then also, ideally, you let the turkey rest for a
So
while
I
to
was just going
incorporate
to
the juices
ask
again.
you that. So obviously you pull that turkey out of the oven. It smells so good.
Yes.
It's steaming in for years and years. I'm going to try it differently without a bag this year, but you tear that bag off
Mm-hmm.
and everyone just kind of wants to pull a piece
Correct.
and eat it. But we
Yes.
should probably wait a minute before we do that.
You should absolutely wait a minute. I would wait at least 30 minutes
30 minutes of
Yeah.
it just sitting on the counter.
with some aluminum foil kind of tenting over it. Yep.
Okay. And that helps keep it moist?
Correct. What it does is it has the moisture kind of goes back inside the turkey because as it heats up, it has a tendency to release the moisture. So then this kind of incorporates everything right back in.
Okay. Am I in your way?
This, nope, we're good.
All right, so what do we have happening here? This looks intense.
I just removed the breast.
You have
Just
to
remove
put,
the
you have
breast.
to put some elbow grease to finally
Yeah.
like, get it
Yeah, it's a
all.
little bit.
Yeah.
You get to know where all the bones are and where everything goes. So I just got to cut the breast, and now we're gonna do the presentation, the pretty presentation.
Okay,
I'll
so
make it
you
look
cut
pretty.
off the thighs and the legs and the breasts.
I sure do.
Okay.
And then you go inside the seam, right in here.
Wow.
You
That
set it
seems to
up.
cut pretty easily.
Well, that's when you have those nice fancy knives rather than
My
ones that are
turkey
probably
looks
not
completely shredded when it's done.
same. Okay, makes me feel a little better.
So when you cut, again, do you cut this way, cut down? I mean, I don't know.
But usually you want to stabilize the turkey. You want to open the legs, stabilize the turkey so that it breaks
So it's
the
not
joints of it,
wobbling
so
back
it's
and
not
forth,
wobbling.
okay.
Correct. And then you start removing the breast. Take the breast
Just
out,
kind of cutting down and away towards the legs.
slicing away towards the leg.
Okay.
And then when you get to the legs, it got a natural bone in here, natural seam in there.
So is your knife actually cutting the bone, or
No, you're going right in through the knee.
You know, I see.
Yeah, it's right between the joints.
And chefs, what do you guys prefer, the dark meat or the white meat or light meat?
Dark meat all the way.
Or
I
dark
do
meat?
dark meat all the way.
That's what I figured. That was a dumb question. I'm like,
Again,
all the way.
I think it retains the moisture a lot better.
Right.
The turkey is very lean, so the breast is the first thing to cook as you're waiting for the thigh and the leg to finish cooking. So typically that is the part that takes the least amount of time. So it tends to be a little bit more on the dry side. So I prefer the leg thigh.
I'm going to rewatch this in slow motion,
Yes.
Chef. Okay, so that way we can make sure that this presentation looks as good as
And
yours.
look, I love how you're slicing
Yes.
the turkey breast like that.
Again, and this is a really safe practice because you're removing the breast off, you're putting it on the cutting board. It's more control, it's more stable. I know it's like really pretty and probably traditional to kind of carve it
At the table.
at the table, but there's more chances of slipping.
That's
and
in the
things like that.
movies, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We're trying to be safe for the holidays.
Yeah.
So Chef Anthony just finishing up the plating, which is what you could do for your dinner table. Again, everything is nicely portioned, so you can just take a piece of the breast, and then you can take like 5 you choose.
We have a producer here who prepares their turkey on an egg.
Yes.
Oh, the
Yes.
The green egg.
The green
Green egg,
egg,
yeah.
the big green egg.
Yes.
A lot of people smoke their turkeys. A lot of people fry their turkeys.
Yes.
Do you have any tips for people who do kind of the unconventional cooking methods?
No, I mean, the same process basically applies. The most important thing, again, it reaches that 165 internal temperature, so you know it's fully cooked and safe to,
and you
to
still
consume.
do the whole butter and everything in between the skin and the
Same
seasoning
exact
and the
things
brine
apply.
and all
Yep,
that.
everything.
Okay.
You can do everything exactly the same.
Just the final process is different.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not putting the butter in with the deep fryer. You know, it's
Makes
ready.
sense. It's ready fried.
You wanna-
It's already got
yeah,
enough
yeah,
of
it's
that?
enough fat.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so this looks absolutely beautiful. And this is your presentation. I see you have some
Right.
rosemary there.
Yeah, so again, if you want to make it a little bit more pretty for the guests, we have some rosemary. You can use whatever herbs you like. You know, sage will be a fairly common one for the holidays, maybe some thyme. You can do some citrus. I tend to do some orange with the butter when I put it in between the turkey skin and the meat, just because I think it smells good and tastes good.
That is so pretty.
Yeah, there we go.
And then do you use your drippings to make gravy?
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
do?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
And what is your tip for that?
So what I do is what we do is called a roux. So
Okay.
you take butter, it's equal parts butter and flour. So you start with that, and then you slowly start to incorporate your hot turkey stock or turkey drippings into that, and then emulsify it and cook it until you don't taste the butter taste anymore.
Okay. And it gets a little thick.
It gets thick. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the sides, because as beautiful as this looks, we can't have Thanksgiving dinner without all the sides,
I mean,
right?
Thanksgiving is
Absolutely.
about the sides. I'm gonna be
Equally
honest
as
with
important.
you, Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
And welcome back. We have now officially finished carving the turkey, and now it's all about the sides. That's what's next. After hours and hours of working on sides, what are some of the what's kind of the spread that we're looking at
Yes.
here?
Yeah, so this is the spread that we're actually serving in our own Disney restaurants at Hollywood and Vine. Also the same meal that we're producing for Coalition for the Homeless in Harbor House of Central Florida. We've been partnering with both those organizations for over 25 years, assisting those communities that are experiencing houselessness and hardships.
I love that. You guys actually prepare more than 1,000 meals for people in need in our community, and this is specifically what you prepare and deliver
Exactly.
for Thanksgiving, which is very nice. Looks fantastic. What do we have here?
All right, so obviously we have the roasted turkey. We have some creamy mashed potatoes. We have some cranberry sauce, some fresh fruits, and some green beans, and cornbread stuffing. Or sorry, cornbread dressing. There is a difference.
Dressing.
What
Yes.
is the difference?
So stuffing traditionally is put inside the turkey while it's roasting, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, not the best practice. Again, you're elongating the cooking procedure, and then the turkey tends to dry out. So if you do it outside of the turkey, it cooks a little bit faster, and I think it's just a little more tastier, honestly. So it's the same process, but you're cooking it in the oven versus inside the turkey.
Gotcha.
Can we focus on the dressing
Yes.
to start with? Because that is the one, well, there are many sides that I struggle with, but the dressing definitely can be a challenge for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has their own, some people have family, traditional recipes. What do
It's
you
like
guys
it's like a family
prepare?
heirloom sometimes.
Yes,
that
because I'm
cornbread.
buying my stuff out of the box and
Sure.
it's iffy.
Okay. I mean,
I try to add my own things to it and it's a big fail.
I think the forgiving thing about dressing is that you can kind of put whatever you want in it. It could be cultural. It can be something like passed down through generations. It could be many things, something you saw on TV that you got inspiration from, right? So it can be a multiple of things. And it's meant to be older product, right? So if you have like day-old bread or something that's some croissants or something like that are sitting and kind of starting to go stale, that'll be perfect for a dressing. So
You make yours from scratch.
I do make mine from scratch, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Not out of a
But there's
box.
there's nothing wrong with store-bought bread
Okay.
and letting it dry out. And using it.
I call it semi-homemade. Okay, that's what I call it.
Well, I
Semi.
made it in my home, so
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
It's
Yeah.
Home finished.
Home finished.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so you start out with some bread,
Yep.
and then what?
So then you can put a little bit of heavy cream, maybe some turkey stock or some turkey drippings if you want some extra flavor. Some typical vegetables that go in there is what we call mirepoix. So it is onions, carrots, and celery.
Okay.
But again, you can put apples, you can put cranberries, sage, rosemary, thyme, bacon. Yeah, so it's a lot of
Sausage,
things.
oysters.
Sausage. Yes.
Oysters.
I've had that before. And a lot of people do cornbread stuffing. I mean,
Correct.
That's my
Again, if you're from the South, cornbread's a staple. Again, if you make cornbread and it's starting to dry out, starting to go a little bit stale, perfect place to put
so
it
you
in
just
dressing.
mix it all together? I mean, what's your actual process in putting it together?
Yep. So what I do is I take the stale bread, I put that into a bowl. I usually put in, again, the turkey stock in there. I saute my vegetables so they're starting to get nice and soft and kind of develop those flavors. Put that into the bowl, kind of give it a good mix, and then that goes into like a casserole dish or some kind of pan, and then that gets finished in
He
the
makes it
oven
sound
to crisp
so
up.
easy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It is easy.
Yeah.
It is easy.
So there's always the big debate of dressing versus stuffing, which you've obviously have explained. But jellied or non-jellied
Fresh.
cranberries.
I'm-
Fresh,
I'm on
always fresh.
Camp fresh.
Fresh
Yes.
always.
I do have something to say though, because
Okay.
yes, I love the fresh. However, nostalgia.
Yeah.
You get yours out of a
My
can?
grandfather always had it in a can, and it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving in my house.
Are
unless
you
I
going to
see
be
that.
okay with this?
It's the important part is giving thanks, and that's what meeting with everybody together with the family, and that's the
Absolutely.
important part. And
And you can do both. I know a lot of people who have
That's
like
true.
the
And that's what we
round
do, yeah.
cylinder on
It
the
jiggles
table.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the jiggle.
And then the
Gotta
fresh.
have the ridges.
Yes.
that way you know where to slice. Come on,
Yeah.
chef. eh?
Yeah.
I love fresh cranberries as well. What is your secret to making them?
So I cook mine with sugar and a little bit of lemon juice. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually reduce some balsamic vinegar, so it starts to get nice and a little more tart, kind of develop that natural sweetness, and I put that into it as well, just for more background flavor.
Love that.
Okay.
Okay, and of course, a lot of people are able to make mashed potatoes.
Yes.
What is your secret twist on your mashed potatoes?
So the secret to cooking mashed potatoes is to try to get rid of as much water as possible. So if you dry roast the potatoes first, then you're not introducing more water into it versus boiling. So then you can take the potato off of the skin. You can save the skins for like crispy potato skins as a garnish on top. You can do lots of things with that. And then to heat up the cream or milk that you're using and the butter. If you don't and you incorporate it cold, then the mashed potatoes will get kind of like a gritty texture.
Wow. And so, yeah, roasting them versus just boiling them.
Correct.
In terms of taste and flavor profile, how will that change things?
Dramatically, you're gonna have more of like a nutty, like roasted flavor to it versus boiling.
Love that. All right, green beans. These appear to be kind of just fresh green
Yep.
beans, steamed.
Again, you can do multiple different things with it. In my family, we tend to saute it with some garlic, butter, and almonds. So like green beans almondine, that's called. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. It can be steamed, it can be sauteed, it can be roasted. It's green bean, like a green bean casserole.
And chefs, I mean, what would be your one thing besides the turkey? What's that one side for you personally that just makes this a Thanksgiving meal?
in my home, it's got to be cream corn. I have to have cream corn, or
Do you get it out of a can?
no.
That's blasphemy.
No. So it's we gotta have the cream corn, and then a little bit of side of sweet potatoes. One of my kids does
Nice,
not like the
yes.
sweet potatoes, so we have to have reduced.
Oh, yeah.
Marshmallows on top?
Yes, at least in my house.
It depends on how.
Yeah.
No, yes and no. It depends on how you're combining your whole meal. I like to do my turkey and combine my stuffing and my cranberries and kind of have it. If I'm doing it Cajun, one year we did a Cajun, so the seasoning was Cajun and there's oysters in the stuffing, so we kind of gave it the whole traditional kind of Cajun feel. So it depends on what you want, how you want to do it. Some other families have potluck and one brings something, the other
Right.
brings something else.
That's
so.
nice.
Yeah.
And what about you? What's the one dish you have to have on Thanksgiving?
I think it's the candied yams with the marshmallows.
marshmallows,
Yeah,
okay.
because you have so much like salty like ingredients, right? So there's like stuffing, the mashed potatoes, and then that sweetness kind of balances everything out.
Right.
And I know that you guys also serve, we don't have it displayed here, but dessert. And we were having the debate earlier, pecan or pecan pie. Tell us about the desserts that you guys serve.
So we have pecan pie and pumpkin pie, and the whole. If I'm talking about the pie, it's pecan pie. But if I'm talking about the nut itself, I say pecans.
That makes sense.
I don't know why. That's just my thing, maybe. But
You too? Yeah. I mean, and I don't know about you guys, but to me, like after Thanksgiving, I've been helping. I don't do the cooking. It's my mom, and I'm there. I'm the supportive character here. I'm more the sous chef, you know? But at the end of the day, I really just enjoy the next day.
yes,
Right.
It's the leftovers.
Yes.
So if there's one from each of you,
Yes.
kind of a good takeaway of how to make like a leftover, like
Because food
really sing and
safety is
dance.
important
Correct.
too, for Thanksgiving. So what do we need to do after the meal?
So it's really important. Like I think most families, what they do is they kind of leave the food out. People start to graze, and it kind of sits maybe a little too long outside.
Take
so
a nap, come
exactly.
back.
So I think the most important thing to do is as soon as the meal is over, to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator so it can start cooling down again. And yes, I think the next day, my family tradition is for breakfast, we always kind of heat up the leftovers. So what we do is my mom will buy like the Hawaiian king rolls, right? And then we'll kind of sear those. We have my dad has like a big plancha, like a flat top in the backyard. So then he'll kind of toast those. We'll have the sliced turkey, so he'll hit that on there, and it's just like a little breakfast sandwich in the morning. And it's I think I enjoy that more than the actual
Right?
Thanksgiving dinner itself.
Leftovers are next day, or leftovers are awesome.
Do you have a leftover
We do pot
idea?
pie. We do a turkey pot pie.
Oh, that sounds good.
The turkey pot pie. We gotta do the turkey pot pie the next day. You do all the trimmings and
Yeah.
all the whatever left over, and then you always go back and carve the bones and make a nice stock out of it. If you have some stock left over from when you made the gravy, you incorporate it right in there. And
I have a friend who does
Nice,
turkey
beautiful.
chimichangas the next day.
it's a
Yes.
plethora
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
whatever you wanna.
We
I
did
mean, turkey fried rice.
turkey
fried rice,
right?
yeah. Turkey
So many
burritos,
options.
Turkey tacos, turkey burritos.
I did turkey croquetas.
There you go.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. Those were good too. So
We know that you guys provide more than 1,000 meals, as we said, to
Yeah.
the Coalition for the Homeless in Central Florida, as well as Harbor House. How many people do you plan to cook for at Disney's Hollywood Studios and the other restaurants there?
they don't want to think about
I mean,
it.
I'm
It's too
trying
many.
to cook for 6, and I'm stressed out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be well into the hundreds and thousands. It's quite a bit of people that we feed, that we have in the parks every single day. So.
I mean, I guess you guys are accustomed to that, but when you start planning for this, I feel like I've been planning for weeks, and it's just my family. So tell us about that process.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we've been doing this for a couple of years now,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we kind of got it figured out at this point. But the planning starts pretty early, starting into going into 2025. We're already starting thinking about like turkey orders, how much are we going to need, how much we're going to have to kind of prepare, and then like we mentioned earlier, this whole process with brining and then cooking. So
Yeah.
it's a multiple day event. So planning is key.
One day I want to go behind the scenes and see all of your turkeys in their brines getting
Thousands,
ready,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
just thousands of turkeys.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We have the wishbone.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to carve my wishbone
Let's
out
see.
before I cook the turkey this year.
Here you
Right.
go.
Okay.
And that wishbone is here on the back side, right?
Yes.
Or I guess the front
And
side.
so because you removed
Front
it
side.
beforehand, you have a
side.
perfect wishbone.
Correct.
Okay.
And then what do we just? This is what I do in my family. We just each take a
Whatever your
take a
tradition is,
side
yeah,
and
absolutely.
You hold it
pull.
with your pinky?
That's what I do. Okay. What do you do?
I don't know. My pinky's not the strongest.
And then you
finger.
pull, and then so in my family, whoever then has the bigger piece
Gets-
wins
Gets a wish.
and gets to make the wish.
Okay,
Correct.
all right, deal. 1, 2, 3.
Oh!
Yay!
All right, what's your wish, Candace?
I can't tell you.
Oh man. Okay.
And then it won't come true.
I think about it. That's true.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Hope we get
for
some
having
time
us.
to enjoy with
Yes.
your families.
Happy holidays to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Florida Foodie. We'd also like to thank our guests, John Prieto and Anthony Scott from Disney's Hollywood Studios. Be sure to follow Lisa Bell online. Search Lisa Bell News on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find Candace Campos on social media. On Facebook, search Candace Campos News 6. And on Instagram, search Candace Campos, WKMG. Also, a big thank you to our entire production team. I'm the show's producer, Thomas Mates. Please take the time to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or wherever you stream podcasts. And you can find videos of all of our podcasts on clickorlando.com and on YouTube. Just search for Florida Foodie.